Synergy Practices podcast powered by Orminco Incorporated. I'm Martin Safari, and I'm here with Antonis Alexandris of Alexandrian Partner LLC. We have a red card edition for you. Antonis actually has one interesting topic that he wanted to discuss, so we figured we jump on and get this going. Antonis, shoot.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, we thought this would be a good episode, really informative to our listeners regarding a circumstance with a client of mine in an undisclosed area in Virginia. He's multi-specialty dental practice. It's one of the longest leases, honestly, I've ever come across, over 100 pages. And there is a landlord work letter describing exactly what they are to be providing and what they're not providing. And when the contractor was hired, the question I had was effectively when the contractor was hired in the lease, there is a landlord work letter, and I assume that they should be reading that as they're working through design and doing their construction. So the circumstance is this: they've basically passed inspection, they've opened, and of course it's winter time now, and they can't turn the heat on. So, what's going on with that? I mean, how could something like that be missed? Whose responsibility is it to have installed this heat and to have known that it was the tenant's responsibility if they were just to go through the lease and read landlord's work letter?
So first, let me understand. They're already open, right? The practice is operational,
Yes,
and that means they're seeing patients and everything.
absolutely. They're seeing patients, and with it getting colder, they tried to turn the heat on and discovered that they have no heat.
All right. So it kind of tells me that potentially the building has the air conditioning in place, but did not provide heat to the air conditioning. So if it's let's say it's a VAV units, the VAV units are not equipped with heat. And you're saying that's on the landlord's work letter that they weren't providing the heat. So here's the scenario that happens. When a project gets started, landlord work letters are great for contractors to understand what's being provided so that they can price properly. So they should have probably read that and known that the heat's not coming with it, and they should have provided a cost to put the heat on. But even if they had missed it, when they get their architects and their engineers on site, the architects and engineers have to do a thorough analysis, communicate with the building, understand what's coming, what's not coming, what's in that VAV unit or the air conditioner, and they should have put that on the drawings to be submitted. Now, as far as the inspection goes, the inspectors, when they come on site and it's the summertime, they see an air conditioner in the ceiling and they turn it on and it's working, they're assuming the heat's on there because it's showing on their drawings. That drawings, I have not seen a drawing or anything like that, but I'm assuming the drawings would have said X tonnage of air conditioner and X amount of heat is being provided. Now, whether it says it's existing or it's being provided, that's that depends on what the drawings are saying. But this is a miscommunication between the contractor and the engineer, and should have been caught during the drawing stages first. Then the second problem you have is when the contractor hires the HVAC guy to go work in there, they should have brought it up. At some point, your subcontractor, who's an HVAC expert, should have brought it up and said, listen, this place does not have heat, or this unit doesn't have heat. You guys want to add one in there. So at least during the construction, that communication should have become. I find it very strange that, we're all the way to the end, the client is open and there's no heat.
So it seems like to me, I'm just trying to think of the layers of failure points throughout this process. So it sounds like the first failure throughout the process was the contractor didn't read the landlord work letter. And then the second one is basically that when they were going through the drawings and submitting for permitting, it sounds like the only way that they could have got approval is maybe even saying that it's existing or something of that nature. Is that kind of how that works? That it has to be there, right? In the drawing has to be
Well,
reflected.
the drawing has to reflect it, no question about it. Whether it
Mhm.
says existing or new, we don't know. We haven't seen the
Okay.
drawing.
Okay.
But for the county to have approved it, something is there. It shows that there's air conditioner with heater.
On
Otherwise,
the drawing.
yeah,
Yeah, it
on the drawing.
displays that.
Otherwise, there would
Okay.
have been comments.
Yeah, I see. I see. And then the third layer of failure is probably going to be with the engineer. And then the fourth layer is whoever installed it didn't mention that there's no heat here.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
unfortunately, this is a prime example of the doctor, working with experts that are not communicating
mm,
or correctly communicating. It's more of a
mhm,
cookie cutter. Let's get going.
sure.
And those are the things I find it in the industry that we're in. You know, when things are not going accordingly, like it's not an everyday thing, something is changing. Nobody's looking at it, so the ball
Hmm.
gets dropped because it's a
Right.
cookie cutter. There's a lot of people that consistently do stuff like this. It never occurred to them that there might be a landlord providing AC with no heat.
Right.
And
Right.
because it never occurred to them, they never checked it. In multiple levels, they never checked it. Your engineer
Sure.
never checked it. The contractor never checked it. Your AC expert subcontractor never checked it.
Hmm.
And of course, the client, the dentist doesn't know about it either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you get to the end and you have a problem like this.
So at the end of the day, my client is effectively working in the cold. It's going to cost them upwards of $20,000 or more to remedy the situation. And they basically came to me and they're trying to figure out who's really at fault here. Is it the building? Is it the contractor? Whom can they go to, and what would be your recommendation for next steps in regards to remedying the situation?
So there's multiple situations that they have to look at. I am not no attorney, so I can't determine legally who would be at fault. However, what I can say is clearly the landlord has nothing to do with this. The landlord has provided the work letter. They've said what they're providing, what they're not. Even if the landlord had said they are providing the heater and it's not there, it's still not their fault. The fact that it's being caught this late in the game, that
Mm,
it's not there. Had somebody brought it up to their attention, they would have probably put it in. So the landlord is out of the question. It's If this is a design build contractor and the design build contractor is claiming that they have people in house, it's on the design build contractor. If this is a scenario where an architect and an engineer has done the drawings, then the client can look at the architect's engineer's insurance. There's insurances. I'm sure you being in the real estate know errors in emission insurance that as architects, engineers, they're supposed to have. And if this is considered an error on the drawings, the insurance company should probably cover it from the engineer's side.
mhm.
Having said that, I'm not no expert. I don't know if they will or not. But
Yeah.
if I'm the client, I'm actually making the contractor responsible to figure out what's happened. Because if it's a design build contractor and I have not hired the engineer, I have not hired the architect, I have only hired the contractor who has then gone and done things either in-house or hired the others. He needs to be figuring this out and trying to
Sure.
figure the situation. Yeah,
And that is the circumstance. They are design build, and so
yeah.
I understand. Yeah, because you're right. They're subbing out work, whether it is in house or not. The architect, they're subbing out the engineer, etc. And that all should have been caught, and they should have been managing the project better. So the advice of the client is effectively to
And
figure out.
I bet you at this point, because they're finding it so late in the game, that's probably why it's also costly.
Hmm, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what kind of a heater or air conditioner they're putting in it at 20,000. I'm assuming if they were doing it beforehand, it wouldn't have cost that much.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other change order, right? The later the change order occurs, the more you got to tear out and put back in, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, cool.
I appreciate you jumping on to discuss this. This has been Synergy Practices Podcast powered by Arminco Incorporated. Watch us or listen to us on Spotify and anywhere you guys are listening for podcasts. Thank you.